See you soon.
Come be a part of our family tree at Martin Boyd Christian Home, a nonprofit assisted living community. A family makes a house a home, and we value your family like our own. With all-inclusive rates and an experienced care team, you'll feel right at home. Call today to schedule a tour.
This time of year, I think all of us are caught up in the fun of the holidays, and that's wonderful. But if you're like me, you're also probably beginning to think about what you've got to tend to in 2026. Sarah Beth Locke is back on the show. She has Every Step Law up in Cleveland. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much.
I love your approach to what you do at your practice. You do a lot of estate planning, but you reference it as being holistic. What do you mean by that?
Right, yeah. So we are a holistic estate planning firm. Estate planning is the only thing that I do. It's our specialty area. And at our firm, we really want to focus on going beyond the documents to ensure that all of the logistical things that need to happen outside of signing that piece of paper will actually happen so that plan works appropriately when the family needs it most.
Okay, so what do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, so obviously that logistical support looks a little different for everyone because estate planning is certainly not a one-size-fits-all process. But some of the things at our firm that we want to build in to make sure that they actually work. For one thing, our firm does 3-year check-ins. So I often say that an outdated plan is a plan designed to fail. So at our firm, every client, at a minimum, we're going to do a 3-year check-in to just say, hey, how's life going?
What's changed?
What's changed, right? Does this plan still work for you? If your life hasn't changed in 3 years, then the law probably has. So at a minimum, I want to keep eyes on my plans on at least a 3-year minimum. We do family meetings. So after we design plans, we schedule meetings with the family and the important decision makers so that they know what their job is and how to use the powers that they have been given. We do team meetings with advisors like financial advisors or accountants or whoever is helping that family in other forms of planning. We send out fiduciary letters. We do a very interesting thing that I really love that's called the legacy interview. I'm not sure if we talked about that before.
We did talk about that. Share it again, though.
Yeah, so the legacy interview, I'm a big believer that estate planning is about people, not paper. And when we were building out our process to serve clients, we said, okay, how do we build in that human part, right? Like your intangible human assets. And our answer to that was the legacy interview. That is quite literally a recorded session where we ask questions about your life and what you would want your loved ones to know if you weren't here to tell them. Things about like your advice on marriage and religion and politics and just fun stories about how you grew up.
That is, well, I had forgotten that part of it. I really had. But as you were talking, and I didn't want to interrupt you.
No.
But I wanted to, because I was going to say that so often people think of estate planning as being this kind of clinical. It's about the money. It's about the inheritance. And I love it too. That's A, not your approach. And B, you come at it from your own spot in life as a young mom about to have your second child. We don't need to put off estate planning until we're retired.
Oh my gosh, yes, yeah. Estate planning is truly something that, in my opinion, everyone needs over the age of 18, but is really, really important, especially for young families, because we have the most people depending upon us most often, right? And estate planning is all about taking care of the people that you love most, and it can be a very gifting, very loving experience.
Okay, so let's get into the weeds a little bit on it. So I think when most people think about estate planning, they think, do I have a will? Where do my assets go? But then there are, let's say you have a 401k at your work. You have to make sure you have contingency plans, right? What if something happens to just you? What if something to you and your spouse? On and on. You help pull that out of people.
Yeah, absolutely. When we do planning with families, we want to make sure that we're covering every asset that you have. So one of the very first things that we start with is an asset inventory for your family that is later included in your plan and also used obviously while we plan. We want to look at your family dynamics. If your plan treats people like robots, it's not going to work, right? Because we're not robots. So we really do dig deeply into those things. And we want to make sure that your plan is covering all of that, like your investment accounts, like your real property, all of those things, and how those assets can be used not only to care for your loved ones if you were not here, but also to care for you. I think a ton of people miss the incapacitation part of planning, and it really is about taking care of you while you're living and ensuring that your wishes are followed through on.
We talk about the young parent side of it. Now
Yeah.
let's talk that you're in your 70s or 80s,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, okay, I've got to make sure that I really am protected here.
Yeah.
One thing that weighs on people's mind is making sure that the will is easy to execute.
Yeah. And one of the very first things that we do with anyone is if someone comes in with prior planning, whatever that plan may be, whether it be nothing, which means you've had the state default plan, a will-based plan, or a trust-based plan, we sit down and go over just what that plan does. A ton of clients come in with a document that's often very, very old, and they have no idea how it works. And so we talk about how logistically that document would actually function, and then it becomes much easier to identify what works about that and what doesn't. With our elderly community, there is a huge focus on ensuring that those assets are sufficient enough, right, to care for you, especially if long-term care is something that we are considering, especially if Medicaid is something that we're considering. Our firm does specialize in a form of elder planning known as life care planning.
Yeah.
It is a holistic form of elder law, where not only obviously do we focus on planning for the foundational things like incapacity and death, but we also go into benefit planning and asset protection. We go into planning out, what needs to be there for your care and what can we protect for your family. We even work with a medical professional that goes out and meets with these clients.
I have a feeling that if I would just give her the time, Sarah Beth would say, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this. All you have to do is call them or go online. What she wants to know is who you are, who do you love, who do you want to make sure you're protecting, and she takes it from there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everysteplawgroup.com, and then there's the phone number. No matter where you're watching from today, she can help you. And good luck with the new baby.
Yes, thank you so much.
This is where the holidays are made, aisle by aisle.